Hi, people. For some reason, I decided not to review this beer right away when I got it. And after drinking like nearly the whole six pack, I decided it's pretty necessary because this year's batch of Born Yesterday from Lagunitas is very good. It's very different from last year's. I looked at my video review from last year, and last year's batch looks just like every other Lagunitas IPA. Almost nearly filtered and a little bit, on the clear, pale amber side. But as you'll see when I pour this one, this is very different. I guess it's kind of the same hops this year, Mosaic, Amarillo, and Equinox, and it's the same idea using, something like 11 pounds per barrel of wet hops. But we should jump right into it because that's the important part, is the look of this beer. And it's exactly 2 weeks old at this point, so still very fresh. And I guess it's 7% alcohol. Last year I think it was only 6.5. But there's no other Lagunitas beer that looks like this when you pour it. I think they may have been going for a hazy East Coast juicy thing, because that's basically almost, opaque. You can't, not opaque, but, totally translucent. I haven't seen any Lagunitas IPAs that look like this. And last year's batch looked like the regular IPA. It reminds me a lot of Trillium. I don't know if they use a different yeast strain. I kind of doubt it, but oh boy, it smells super juicy. Last year was really complex and fruity, but I don't think last year's had quite the tropical fruit juiciness that this does, because this reminds me of so many of my beloved New England IPAs. Like last year, my tasting notes, I said that they had like a cotton candy bubblegummy sort of thing going on. Reminds me of the Founders Harvest wet hop pale, which I think was like last year's Born Yesterday, but this year, like, this is very different. And there's no bubblegummy yeast thing. This is all super fresh orange juice, pineapple, mango. It smells really good. It's just as good as some Trillium beers in my opinion, except that they have a kind of nicer head, I would say. It sticks around, a little more lacing, a little better retention. But the aroma just smells so super sweet, and there's no weird off flavors, plasticky qualities, buttery qualities, biscuity qualities I'm getting really tired of in Conan yeast beers. This is just exactly the aroma that I'm looking for, and it has a little bit of a slight green chlorophyll thing, but it's not sweaty and funky. Or too much green onion, garlicky sort of dank qualities. It's just so fruity. Even though I know that Mosaic and Equinox can have some woody, overly herbaceous green qualities. But I could just smell this beer all day. It just smells like sweet tropical fruit juice, an orange juice blend with some Smarties maybe in there, but I don't get like a powdery, weird bite to it like I do with, some batches of Trillium even. Gets a lot spicier on the tongue, but then finishes like very sweet and fruity. Good amount of bitterness, but that's just a luxurious finish. There isn't any drying, metallic, tongue scraping problems or like carbonic bite or anything, or plasticky qualities. This is the best beer I think I've ever had from Lagunitas. I don't know why hopefully they'll start shifting their IPAs to being sort of like this, even though I guess a lot of the drinkers on the West Coast and other places who love Lagunitas don't want something different. But they just pack so much fruity hop character into this. It's very good. And I guess they do say unfiltered on it. maybe last year's it didn't say unfiltered exactly. That's the main difference. They didn't let all that stuff fall to the bottom because so much fruity character and juicy character sticks to the yeast, as I've really noticed over the past few years. But they also know exactly what they're doing with their yeast. That there are no off flavors or things that are happening, or then push it out too fast, so it's got a slight buttery, biscuity note. And it's maybe it has a little bit of a like a juicy fruit bubblegum thing, but it doesn't. It's not overly like biscuity, I guess, is the main thing. Like what I've noticed in a lot of Conan yeasted beers, like Peak Organics, the Juice, and Aeronauts hopping away. Some of these ones that are smaller batch New England beers, is that there's a really intense, almost diacetyl-like quality to them, and I don't really like that. This actually reminds me more of the way the yeast and the hops interact in Trillium and Treehouse. Except it's has a little bit more of a bite maybe to it, a little bit cleaner finish, but extremely pleasant. And I wish that I could have gotten my hands on a second 6-pack of this stuff. And then the resinous bite is spicy. It's like sweet spices. I'm talking about like a almost sort of a like sweet cardamom, cinnamon almost quality to it, rather than it being like super woody. I guess there's a little bit of a woody thing to it, but it's not as woody and cedar-like as Equinox can be. It's not too grassy. There's a little bit of bell pepper. Maybe that's what I'm noticing too. It's like a sweet peppery thing mixed with sweet spices. That's what I get hit with a little bit. And then it kind of lingers with all of the tropical fruit too. And it's peachy. Yes, this is very, very good beer. If you can still get your hands on this stuff, do it. It's doing perfectly well at 2 weeks old, even though I had it when it was like a week old. But I'm very impressed by Lagunitas, and I hope that maybe they'll release new IPAs and bombers or something, or maybe just new 6-packs. If they're able to do something like this, I assume they can make a beer that's this quality, maybe not as intense, but with dried hops. And I think everyone should contact Lagunitas and be like, do Born Yesterday, do unfiltered, basically unfiltered IPAs. Like I had their Born Again yesterday, that somehow they made a fresh hop-like beer last spring, or I guess it was early summer, and that one wasn't as unfiltered as this one, but it was very good. But if Lagunitas can do this, just come on, guys, do more of this thing. You're not. Maybe you feel like you're jumping on the bandwagon, and Tony McGee doesn't want to do what everyone else is doing and seems to be kind of a dick. But this is what's going to get you rep all over the country and get people talking about you in good ways, perhaps. So I'll give 90 something to this one. This is really good. If you like Trillium and you're sick of Lagunitas, get this beer. Bye.